Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Championship game.
Good evening, Broncos country. Welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS. As always, my name is still Kev Dan. It has not changed yet. Maybe it will someday, but for right now, it is what it is. I got Adam. I got Spotty with me here tonight. Guys, I'm going to be making bad jokes and cheesy comments all night long. As usual, you know how we roll here, guys. I know this is the weird time of, this is one of the multiple weird times of the off season. Right now we're between free agency and we're still a little bit more than 2 weeks from the draft, and there's just really nothing going on, but we are going to try to have some fun with you guys here tonight, talk about a couple different things, post your comments and your questions. But Spotty, let's start with you, man. I know Adam has a good maybe intro topic here for us, because what I thought was an April Fool's joke just being drug out could potentially at least be something to spend a few minutes talking about while we have, this dead time. But otherwise, Spotty, man, sir, how you doing and what's on your mind?
Good, man. It's funny that you say this is the weird time, and then I'm going to use my comment to play into what Adam's talking about. But it's only a weird time because we're not really sure what's news and what's made up. It's this point of the year where we're going to hear, well, this player requested a trade, and this player is looking for a new contract, and the Broncos are potentially going to draft this player. The Broncos are going to do after that of that player. Like, it's a weird time, but there's also so much information that's circulating out there right now that you just have to kind of weed through it and pick it apart and find what's interesting. So that being said, I kind of like all of this stuff. It actually does give us something a little bit to talk about, especially because we're not going to be really talking about anything interesting until day 2 of the draft.
Hey, the Broncos could trade up into the first round. It is weirder things have happened. Okay, I highly doubt that would be the case. But just so everybody knows our game plan here, if the Broncos were to trade up into the first round, we would, of course, go live pretty quickly after that happens. So just be watching your phone. If you get a notice that something crazy happened, Broncos traded up, just count on us going live almost right away. But we'll be planning on doing our draft show starting on Friday night, April 24th, for the second round of the draft, starting about the time the draft starts all the way through where the Broncos pick there. So we'll see. And there's going to be a prize giveaway as well for a Broncos draft cap and potentially even a Broncos jersey giveaway. Concerning Mr. Irrelevant, because if you guys didn't know, we are getting Mr. Irrelevant this year. So we're going to have some fun with that and make some guesses and potentially give some stuff away. So you guys are going to want to be there. Adam, enough of me talking and making announcements here. I want to get into some more of this. I thought this was an April Fool's joke, dude.
It kind of sounded like little clickbait stuff that you see on Facebook, but I mean, even Jose is alluding to this as well. I was one of those people too. I thought this was just Facebook tomfoolery. But Mike Florio, who is a credible source and somebody in the know, did say that now again, I want to say this as honestly as possible so that I am not gaslighting anybody, but there is some interest from the Broncos in signing Aaron Rodgers as a backup to Bo Nix. You know what? If you want to make some weird conclusions to whatever's going on, I mean, I guess we are in the silly season part of the draft where it just rumors are crazy. Teams trying to smoke out where where other teams are leaning. So I mean, I guess it could be credible. There also was a report that came out that said that Jarrett Stidham and Sam Ehlinger will be in a backup quarterback battle this year. So I mean, maybe it's a way of maybe trying to upgrade the backup quarterback because of what happened last year. But can you really even say that you need to upgrade the backup situation because it was such a freak thing at a very weird time? I don't know. But it's one thing to say, oh, that's ridiculous. It's another thing when somebody like Mike Florio actually reports that this could be a thing. And other people in the know have actually said this could be a thing. So I'll just throw it out to you guys. If this is a serious interest thing, would you be on board with the Broncos bringing on an Aaron Rodgers as a backup? I do need to clarify, as a backup, not as a challenge or starter potential to Bo Nix.
Spotty, I'll let you start, man.
Brother, I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. That's why it makes me, I can't stand any of this right now. I just see it all as smoke. A way for him to leverage his position again with the Steelers, or even because I just, there are 32 teams, right? I believe there's maybe one team that's really truly interested in seeing Aaron Rodgers and his toxic lifestyle on their team and affecting their locker room. That it just doesn't read like a Sean Payton kind of move, or like a Sean Payton kind of locker room. He likes guys that are going to nod their head, maybe push back ever so often. He wants to see that fire, but he doesn't want to hear a guy talking about ayahuasca and 3-day dark retreats and be wishy-washy, because that's everything that Aaron Rodgers is at this point in his career, right? It's the circus comes into town every time Aaron Rodgers does. And it was almost the exact same thing kind of with Tim Tebow, and the Broncos have already kind of experienced that. So I just think it's all smoke. When Mike McCarthy got hired with the Steelers, there was no part of me that didn't believe that he wouldn't just go back to billionaire. I feel like any other team that needs him is a desperate team, even for a backup spot.
That's an excellent point, Spotty. Excellent point.
I couldn't have said it any better. The culture for me is a big thing. And Spotty right there with you. Like I couldn't, I thought I could deal with Wilson. I thought I could, like I was like, I know he's cheesy, but I'm cheesy. Like I can deal with it, man. Right. And I was so wrong. I was so wrong. By the time we got to the high knees on the airplane part, I was beyond done. Okay. And I think that if I'm sitting here, like, I'm like, well, maybe I could handle Aaron Rodgers. Like maybe he's not that bad. No, I know I'm wrong. Because I'm sure that within a couple weeks, I'm going to be sick of his crap. Right. And so that's not what we need. But look, I just don't see that happening. But Spotty, I do want to ask you this question of you. Adam kind of brought it up a little bit here, but I've heard Adam's take on it. We got David's take on it last week and my take on it twice now. But want to hear what you have to say, what you think about the potential of Stidham being used as trade bait. Is he somebody that we're looking at maybe utilizing to get some extra draft capital this year, or get another player for depth, or just what do you think about that?
I didn't even get anything for him besides a box of crackers and some string cheese. This conversation would have been best had before he played in that AFC Championship game. And mind you, I do think about the fact that weather does play a factor in that. And obviously, no team was really prepared for that whatsoever. But the talk about Jarrett before that, like, hey, teams want him, that, he's the second or third highest paid quarterback, backup quarterback in the league for a reason. Like, yeah, if you could get something for him, absolutely. You said it yourself. The backup is really only supposed to come in kind of freak moments. And if you lose there's probably some kind of equation in there. If you lose a certain amount of games with your starter out, or if your starter is going to be out for a certain amount of games, you're probably not going to go far at all. I feel like any quarterback who's missed more than 3 games over the last couple of seasons, their teams haven't fared well when it came to playoff time, or even to get into the playoffs. So yeah, sure. If you could absolutely get something for him, it's just, again, going back to kind of our conversation though, like, do we need more draft capital? Do we, like, are we just trying to prepare ourselves for the future? I don't see us getting another 6th or 7th round pick, how that's going to really affect the Denver Broncos. So might as well keep.
That's fair.
I mean, the Broncos have that $10 million slush fund after they sign draft picks. The starting quarterback market is a lot like the backup quarterback market. Like, it's a very small pool that you're going to be pulling from. And the way that I heard it was that the Jets might be interested with him as, maybe a guy that can push whoever they're going to start back there.
I couldn't tell you who the starting quarterback is for the Jets, Adam.
I mean,
it's who was with the Raiders this last year?
Oh, no, it's Geno.
It's Geno Smith. And they said, we believe Geno Smith can take us to the promised land. I swear to God, that's what they said.
No one ever.
I mean, words that have only been said by the Jets GM and Geno Smith's mom, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, I think that you'll see maybe some renewed interest after the draft when everybody's been picked up and rosters are maybe finalized a bit more, or maybe there's more interest if a guy goes down at the start of training camp. You need to bring in somebody on an emergency. But like right now, I just don't think there's a whole lot of market for Stidham. And even as it is, I mean, he already factors into the financials going into this year. It is a luxury that we can afford to have, and having like an upper echelon backup. But as far as anybody trading for him, I mean, yeah, if somebody blows you away for it, like if somebody gives you like, hey, we'll give you a 4th for Stidham, I don't think anybody would say no to that. But I don't think that's going to be an offer from anybody either.
I guess I should say this. I just don't think we could get anything for him. Of course, I didn't think that we'd get a 4th for Devon Vele from the Saints last year. We didn't expect that. But the other thing and the other factor to really put into this is that NFL scouts and a lot of the big wigs for the NFL see that next year's quarterback draft, so the 2027 NFL quarterback draft, is supposed to be one of those like 4, 5, 6 kind of like, this is supposed to be the next big thing, led by Arch, led by all of these guys coming out. So why, send some capital this year for a guy who's going to maybe start for you 1 year and you hope that you tank so you can pick up one of those other guys. So there's too many things playing in the fact that I just see it. It just sounds like a bunch of smoke, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, here's a different kind of topic that we haven't talked about yet. It's always interesting when you hear what players have to say about the team they had just left after either a trade or being cut or something like that. And maybe it's kind of a clickbaity topic, but it is interesting because we know that Sean Payton is just a tough coach, right? And he's not like what we've had before in Fangio or Joseph when he was the head coach. These very friendly player-friendly coaches that just, okay, guys, whatever you think is best, right? That's not Sean Payton. And what we heard from Dre Greenlaw was that he just did not like the environment, the multiple practices a day, and just kind of how intense it was. So, I mean, just guys, what do you think about that in general? And is that something that maybe causes to have some problems in free agency in terms of trying to sign some of these guys, or what? And hold on, before you guys answer, I do want to pull this up. We got a blank comment, and we know what a blank comment means. That means we got some stars donated to us from Michael. Mr. Michael, you are too kind to us, sir. Thank you very much for the donation. If you couldn't tell, Spotty has a beautiful Cowboys hat, whereas Adam and I do not. And so the money that you guys would donate to us are going to go to even bigger and better Cowboys hats. Yeah.
I got a big head too, so I need a bigger hat.
And so it's an expensive, when you're looking for an XXXL hat, they're tough. You gotta like get custom made and stuff. So but no, seriously, guys, don't feel like you have to donate to us, but we always appreciate when you do. We're just happy that you're here, and that's the biggest thing that matters to us. But anyway, so back to Greenlaw there and kind of his comments, and just anything you make from what you heard from that.
If I had heard more of this kind of conversations from a lot of other people besides Dre Greenlaw and Russell Wilson, like that's the kind of person that Dre Greenlaw is going when he's saying bad things about the Broncos. That's the person that he's being on the same level with. There just hasn't been many other players who've even said that. But then again, not every place is the same for everybody else, right? For some reason, Max Crosby likes playing for the Raiders. You know how many other players have said they like playing for the Raiders? Just about zero. So, hey, not to yuck my guy's yum, he wants to go back to the 49ers where they're trying to move their practice facility away from a power plant so there's no injuries, but maybe he just likes Shanahan and the way that he holds everybody's hand. That's not the whole point. Not everybody's supposed to enjoy like practice. I don't think anybody generally enjoys practice, right? It's all about the game. You know what? If he didn't like winning, that's unfortunate for him.
Yeah. I mean, Dre Greenlaw was over the moon when he got signed by Denver. He said that Denver was one of the few teams that made him feel loved and all this stuff. It was a big old kumbaya at the signing, and then when he goes back to San Francisco, he gets in his feelings again. I would say that Dre is probably an emotional guy. We saw how he is on the field. If he's saying that the practices weren't conducive to him, I'm sure that should have probably come up in a conversation with the head coach beforehand. Yeah. So if all of this was news to him on how Sean Payton runs his practices or how the organization has been run, in the last 3 years since he's been, since Sean and the Paytons have been here, I don't know that maybe he came into this very well informed, and maybe that's just bad on him for making a bad decision on where to play football. But again, it dovetails with Russell Wilson and the sour grapes he had as he left. And again, that was one of those things where I don't think it was a personality thing between Sean and Russ. I think it was just like, dude, you're just not the guy. You're not the guy that can execute the way that I need this to be executed. And we've seen the product with Russ at the controls, and we've seen it with just about everybody else. And when it's just about everybody else, it looks better than when Russ was there. So, and from the things that I've read, Russ is in denial that he is not a starter in this league anymore. And he may not even be a backup in this league for much longer. So, you got to believe in yourself. If you believe in anything, you believe in yourself. But I think Dre and Russ are just, they're the exceptions and not the rule. And I think that, while you do have maybe a more old school throwback feeling to preparations for game day, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's been a problem for anybody outside of those two guys. So I don't think it's anything to really dig into as far as there's something deeper going on.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's always interesting, like where was that player's mind at, and do they always feel that way? And like you said, he came in and seemed really excited to be with the Broncos. So at what point in the season did that change? Or maybe that just kind of, okay, well, based off how it ended, that's where he's at, right? You'll just never know. But always interesting things there. I want to move over to the draft and make sure we spend a little bit of time with that because we're a little bit more than 2 weeks away. With the first round on Thursday night, of course, guys, again, we will not be live. I am going to backtrack on my promise to you all that we will always start at the beginning of the first round and go up through when the Broncos' first pick is, whenever that might be, even if it's the next day. I'm not going to do it, guys. You don't want me around that much. You don't want me live that long. And I'm just not going to even ask the other guys to try it either because I will be asleep by like 2 a.m. There's no way I could make it past that. So we will be live starting the second round of the draft on Friday night, however, and we'll be doing a giveaway, like I said, with a jersey for whoever might happen to guess who Mr. Irrelevant will be first in the live stream during the draft. And I know that is a long shot, but yes, Spotty.
Player or position?
Player, because we are also giving away the draft cap, and whoever guesses the position of Mr. Irrelevant first will win the draft cap. So you'll have the whole draft night show to enter your guess, kind of like what we do with the score prediction challenges. Whatever you guess first is the one you get. You can't enter 20 times. So try to figure out who you think Mr. Irrelevant will be for a chance to win a jersey, and then pick whatever position you think it'll be for a chance to win a draft night cap. But you have to be there on Friday night, April 24th, when we're live with the second round of the draft. So Adam, let's start with you, man. Draft news, draft updates, what you seeing, what you thinking with the Broncos looking at pick number 30 in the second round there?
I mean, I know that I am a recent addition to team inside linebacker, but I keep getting this weird feeling that with moving Jonah Ellis inside and where they're at in the second round, man, it sure doesn't feel like they're lining up to draft an inside linebacker, does it? And I was kind of thinking about this a little bit, that for a lot of people, it's best player available or player at a position of need. And Peyton's actually been kind of more a best player available kind of guy. So I don't know that it might be. I mean, if you look at Jahdae Barron last year, even Patrick Surtain, the first year that Peyton was in charge, was it wasn't an out of the blue pick, but it wasn't necessarily the most conventional pick, especially when everybody thought we were going to be drafting Justin Fields that year. So I think it's going to be the best player available at 30. And if they don't have a guy rated that high, I could easily see them trading back again. George Payton does like the barbell approach to the draft, having a lot of picks at the beginning and having a lot of picks at the end. So I think it's entirely conceivable that you see your Broncos even maybe do a little bit of maneuvering and maybe even drop back again, and maybe fall out of the second round so they can maybe pick up a couple guys in the third round.
So here's the question to you, Spotty, then. If we start live in the second round, are we then committed at that point to just say, you know what, I can't do this. We're already here. Let's just go and make it happen. What do you think?
At least the draft starts earlier on Saturday, right? It's not like the same instance where you have to go from 4:00 on Thursday to wait till 4:00 on Friday. It's more like
it's not 24 hours.
It's gonna end on Friday and then it starts at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's more feasible, but I snore loud. I'm not sure if anybody would be able to hear anything else as I was on this. You know what, Adam, I agree with you. I agree with your idea on this, and the reason that I agree with you on that is we have seen from Sean and George that they're very comfortable with the pieces that the Broncos already have. If they weren't comfortable with inside linebacker, do you think they would have spent the money on Justin Strnad and bringing back Alex Singleton and letting Greenlaw go? I mean, it shows you they brought back J.K. Dobbins. They're comfortable with where we're at running back, and then they signed every single one of our tight ends back in the tight end.
Right.
So that already shows you right there that the Broncos are kind of okay with all of the pieces, and it's absolutely the kind of thing for Sean Payton to run it back. So with that all being said, I could see if we do stay at that second position, there's got to be somebody that we really like to jump up in the draft, because that is a possibility. I see us jumping up, and we have jumped up in the draft in the second round a couple of times over the last couple of years. So I do want that to be on everybody's, the top of their mind, but it could be it still could end up being a best player available. It could end up being like the Broncos come out and maybe there's a left tackle out there that, no one's Broncos haven't drafted any offensive linemen in a very long time. And if there's just someone who's bouncing out there, you never know. So then, and we also have our draft capital for next year, all of that. And again, it's another word. Are we going to need all of that to make a run for the team? So best player available actually sounds really on point for the things that we've done over the last couple of years. I could see us just jump up maybe a couple of spots. If there's I'm a wish for a Jacob Rodriguez with the cowboy hat, but I don't know if he's going to fall that low. And I don't know if there's that excitement where this front office for that kind of player.
Right.
That didn't seem to please you, Kev Dan.
No, it's just with best player available, I don't like knowing. Like, I just don't like knowing. Like, I want to either be like, we're either going to do this or that, and then I can hone in on this or that. But when it's like, it makes sense that it very well could be best player available. I do wonder, though, especially with kind of, I don't want to say, well, yeah, kind of what didn't happen in free agency, if the Broncos aren't aggressive, again, cautiously aggressive, to move up in the second round versus trade out. Again, this is a situation where if we're going to say we're in a Super Bowl window, I think we got to treat it as such. To me, I think trading out of the third round when you don't have a first round, or trading out of the second round when you already don't have a first round, that seems more like a off year kind of strategy, piling up draft capital, or, just I very well could be wrong. I'm not the one being paid to make these decisions, right? And so but for me, I'd like us to, hey, if there's somebody that we really want, that's sitting up there, go get them, right? And obviously for the right price, but I like to see us, do that. Now, they're going to be on the phone. They're going to be making calls. They're going to be asking, hey, what do you want for this? And seeing if it's even something that they can begin negotiating on. But either way, the draft is going to be interesting. Very well could be that the Broncos do trade out. Very well could be they stay where they are and get maybe a punter. I don't know. We might need one of those. Just stockpile them,
Don't talk about Crawdaddy like that.
No, man.
Daddy.
All right, then let's do it like this, because personally, I don't like the BPA strategy for the Broncos. Okay, so Kev, Dan, I know it's not necessarily your forte, but think about this, Adam. If Nick, give me two players that you would like the Broncos go get that's in the second round, like a second round availability. Obviously, that's not 𝐃𝐫𝐚𝐿, right? That's what we're talking about.
No, I know him. He's
round, because I've actually got three players off the top of mind that I would love for the Broncos to take a step forward. Hey, if they fall to us where we go, that'd be cool. But if we have to go up a couple of spots, I think it'd be worth it.
I think you got to throw Jacob Rodriguez in there. His name escapes me right now, but the running back from Notre Dame, not Love.
Singleton. His last name is also Singleton.
Oh, okay. And I don't know if Nicholas Singleton is going to be is more of a third day guy, but from just watching him at Penn State, I really liked both of their running backs from Penn State. I like 𝐃𝐫𝐴𝐿 and Nicholas Singleton. So either one of those guys that I think could fit. But I mean, I don't know that there's necessarily a guy that they really even. I think it's going to be like a Jahdae Barron kind of situation from last year, where it's going to be a pick to groom towards another position for later on down the road, and there is success with that. The Super Bowl team had T.J. Ward and Darian Stewart. The following year, they drafted Justin Simmons. So. It's not the same regime, but when you have a team that doesn't really have a whole lot of holes in it, it kind of seems like that's what they're going to do.
It's interesting. I what Rodriguez, I think, would be a very solid pick. I know he's a big name being floated around. And just a couple of these quick links I clicked on because I don't know names as well. of these college players as I maybe should, but I know enough about the Broncos to talk about the Broncos, and that's about it. Only so much space in here. But yeah, Rodriguez is a big name. Now, maybe this is a stupid reason, but for the right for the right outcome, I don't know. But I'm kind of sick of this idea of like we are going to draft another running back this year, right? And that's going to be 3 running backs drafted in a row. I'm sick of that, right? So if we're going to do it again this year, let's do it right. And so was it 𝐃𝐫𝐚𝐿 here? Is it 𝐃𝐫𝐚? No, that's a safety. Price. Sorry. Price. If he's still there in the second round, I know he's supposed to be the second or third running back off the board there. But if he's there in the second round, I'm almost waiting. Like if he starts dropping at all, like I think you go up and get him. And I think, look, the fact of the matter is, and I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But J.K. Dobbins at some point this season is going to go down. Right?
The history says that. Yep.
Yeah. So if J.K. Dobbins goes down, R.J. Harvey, I still don't think is ready or has shown me anything. We'll see what he looks like this year to say we're ready to hand him the reins. So we get another guy. We put some investment in him. Go get Price or someone like that, and then pretty much say, hey, you guys got to battle this out, right? Neither of your jobs are secure. You go battle it out, and figure out which one and then we ride with them. But I'm just sick. I don't want this to be another thing next year of, oh well, RJ Harvey still isn't working out, so let's go get another running back again. Like, come on, guys,
I mean, unfortunately, I think it's one of those things that you draft a running back every year until one lasts you 4, right? So it's one of my buddies who's a Steelers fan thinks that should be teams who are quarterback needy. That should be their draft strategy. If you draft a quarterback every year, one guy has to hit eventually.
Yeah.
For myself, hey, I mean, they works out, right? The statistics probably back you up on that. For me personally, Jacob Rodriguez, someone that his only knock is that they say that he's undersized, but I feel the linebacker position in the NFL is no longer the Ray Lewis. It's no longer the 6'4", 245-pound guy, considering that they have to cover wide receivers in the slot and running backs and tight ends that could play any spot on the field. When it comes to running back, the one that John and I have talked a lot about, and John got me on, is Jonah Coleman from Washington. Seen a couple of videos from him. The way that he talks, he sounds just like a Sean Payton guy. He loves blocking, and he just also happens to be good at the running back spot. And then, of course, some tight end that could potentially have a lot of upside in the second round is Max Clare out of Ohio State. He just when you play ball at Ohio State, and I think he was at Vanderbilt before that, the places that he played at, you have to be able to block as well. So high upside blocker with receiving capabilities. That's what I'm looking at in the second round. Now, that's always wishful thinking. I'm pretty sure I'm 0 for, 45 with Broncos draft picks for the last couple years, because I thought we would have gone with Justin Fields. I thought we would have gone with Omarion Hampton last year. I think all the expectation for us. But as long as George Paton, I think it's all in the comments, as long as George Paton has been around, he's done really good at the draft. You could talk about the Russell Wilson pick. You could talk about some of the other free agent moves, but he's drafted, 4 All-Pros, 3 All-Pros, and that was back-to-back years, Benito, Quinn, and PS2. So I guess just trust the guy who knows his stuff, and sounds like the Broncos are trying to lock him up for a long term, because there's a lot of teams that were trying to come through to take George Paton away from us. So if you're trying to lock up a GM on another big contract, and they've shown the success that he has in drafting, I'm gonna just be a talking head, and I'm gonna talk out of my face about every little thing, and I'm gonna be wrong, and hopefully he makes the right pick again.
Yep, I like it. I like it a lot.
I mean, George Paton did draft I want to say he drafted Jonathan Cooper and has got a starter out of a 7th round pick. You don't typically draft starter. You're drafting depth guys with your 7th round pick. So when you get a starter, especially with the quality of Jonathan Cooper, you're doing something right. And yeah, like you're saying, Spotty, you could have some legitimate beefs about some of his free agent signings, but when it comes to the draft, George has been pretty spot on, and I would not be surprised if he is locked up before the start of this upcoming season. So
the team has only gotten better.
Yeah,
right.
So,
right. You guys are forgetting the fact that out of all these players, he also drafted 𝐃𝐫𝐚𝐿. Okay, like you have to include that into the equation here, and I cannot wait to see what that guy does.
That's such a Sean Payton. Like he was like, "What? Do you have any other plans for the 7th round pick? Sure. You need a 7-foot guy out there. I want to throw him balls high."
He's really tall and he stands out. Like him.
Player, cool. I've had one of those before.
and I'm not trying to make fun of him. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see if anything ever comes from that. But it could be one of those things where, just like we were or not us, but people were laughing about the Bo Nix pick. Maybe in a couple of years, we're sitting here going like, wow, okay, like there's some real use from this guy. We'll see. So
who's he working with this offseason? Was it Donald Driver?
Something like that.
He's working with somebody super random that let's just not on your bingo card of people you think you would reach out to. So, hey, Bo worked with Drew Brees last year and he had a pretty good season. So,
yeah. Yep, completely agreed. You just don't know. Hey, we got some closing comments coming our way here soon, guys. Don't miss it because Adam here is going to he's going to tell you who Batman is, and it's not Bruce Wayne, but if you can tell, he has some Batman stuff behind him. He's a little bit of a fan. He knows the actual guy, and you're going to want to find out who it is. So we also got some Broncos closing comments as well, so stick around for that. But first, again, we are live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for another episode of Bourbon Broncos No B.S. These shorter episodes during the offseason just to come together, hang out with you guys, and catch up, see what's going on, talk about some Broncos stuff while it's kind of the dead part of the offseason. We'll get to the draft. Second night of the draft during the second round. We'll be live for that all the way up through the Broncos' first pick there. If they trade out going to the third round, we're just going to call it and say we're good. We were live, whatever. We'll touch base next Tuesday. But we will be live at the start of the second round of the draft, and we'll see what happens from there. But you're also going to want to tune in on that Friday night, April 24th, to enter for a chance to win a Broncos jersey and a Broncos draft night cap by guessing who Mr. Irrelevant will be and also guessing what position Mr. Irrelevant will be. 2 separate guesses for 2 separate prizes. So you guys are going to want to be there for that. Check out broncosandbourbon.com, guys. One-stop shop for all of our latest videos, podcasts, shows. Adam doing his weekly off-season articles right now, a little newsletter stuff with info going on. Make sure you go check that out. It's still free to sign up right now. And eventually, when I start working on it again, we will get some subscription stuff going on in there. But I still have some ways to go. Anyway, with that being said, first off, appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. But Adam, I'm ready to hear. You were saying before the show that you couldn't wait to reveal who this was, and all show long I've been waiting for this. So, what you got?
Well, I mean, it is privileged knowledge. I mean, I can't just give it away. I mean,
no, you said you promised me.
I did?
Promised me. Yes. At least that's what I'm going to tell people on camera here.
Do you really want to give up Batman's secret identity? I'm really sure that's one of the superheroes that, like, you don't necessarily live to tell the people about that.
Like in the Dark Knight, where the guy thinks that he has Batman's secret identity, and Lucius Fox tells him, "Do you really think that this guy who beats up people with his bare hands is not gonna be able to find you and do something about it?" And I mean, I'm a feisty dude, but I mean, Batman's like 6'3" and 235, knows like 100 different
some hints. some
knows
hints there.
knows
Ooh.
every
Alex
martial.
Singleton?
How do you think he lost his ball this year? Anyway,
Hey, crime fighting is a dangerous thing. It's not ballerina. It's not ballet. So
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks Adam for playing along. I know that was kind of silly and ridiculous, but that's okay because now we can finish up
silly and ridiculous.
Talking about some Broncos. Closing thoughts over to you first, buddy.
I was giving this some thought the other day as I was putting stuff on my own channel. If you want to check that out, that's Eye on the Ball 37. We have a little bit different flavor of Broncos if that is something you're interested in. But I was thinking about best George Paton draft pick. And I think you can only really come down to two guys. It's either Bo Nix or it's Patrick Surtain II. Now, I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer per se, but I lean towards Bo Nix for this one very, very reason. When you have a franchise quarterback, you're always in the hunt. Let's ask the Cincinnati Bengals, who are terrible, but if they have Joe Burrow back there, they're you still got to pay them the respect because Burrow's back there. But there are lots of bad teams that have franchise cornerbacks, and that's no disrespect to PS2. I think PS2 is a lifelong Bronco. He has his spot in the Hall of Fame, or even the Hall of Fame right now, maybe, and definitely the Ring of Fame when that time comes. But if it were me, when you get your quarterback right, and I think that we can say after 2 seasons that the Broncos have finally found their guy, I think you got to give it to George for kind of doing the unconventional pick and taking a Bo Nix when a lot of people, including myself, were maybe a little hedgy on that, and maybe thinking it was more of a reach pick or a player at a place of need pick, and ended up being the next quarterback of the franchise. So when you do that, kudos to George, and that's why he's going to get locked up pretty soon.
Yep. I like it, man. There's Spotty, just what do you have in response to that, or your own closing thoughts before I get
on my closing thoughts? I want to say that I hope that I'm wrong, and the fact that this is something that I've kind of chatted with a couple of people about, and I've chatted on this particular show about. I hope that I'm wrong, and that Sean Payton's not just gearing up to bring back everybody and just hope that we can continue to win with just the exact same team. It does not work like that in the NFL. It really doesn't. At any point, you have to continue to look for upgrades. No matter how smart you think you are, no matter how good your scheme is, you have to improve on every position year in and year out. If you were able to come in and run it back with the exact same people, then the Kansas City Chiefs would probably be winning all the time. The Philadelphia Eagles would be winning all the time. But guess what? They falter, they fall apart because they didn't fix the areas where they had actual needs. And so I'm afraid that if we don't fix our areas of need, inside linebacker, potentially a healthy number one running back, and some fill-in spots on the defense, that we are going to find ourselves in a very difficult spot next year when it comes to what might end up being the top division in all of football, at least in the AFC. So Sean, I know you're watching the show. I know you listen to all the heads out there, but please, please, please upgrade the spots that we need to upgrade so we can continue to press forward and we can make that AFC championship game and potentially a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Music to my ears, baby. I'm talking about give me a running back, give me an inside linebacker, give me a safety in that order. Right. And then we'll see where we go from there. But you're right. Like, this idea of running it back, it just maybe we could do it, but it's kind of like socialism. Has it worked anywhere else? Yeah, but they did it wrong. If we try it, we'll get it right. Okay, so I hope that's not the path we're going down here. But yeah, the draft is really important to us this year because we didn't get at least some more of those needs met in free agency, right? If we at least had gotten a running back,
right?
Maybe somehow, I know there weren't a ton of inside linebacker talent, but maybe something there. Losing Dre Greenlaw in that situation, I mean, it would have been nice to see what he could have done healthy. I didn't attribute anything to him this last season because performance, it was just more he couldn't get on the field really very much. So I was looking forward to having him for a second year there, right? So anyway, this draft, guys, it's going to be really interesting, and that number 2 pick or the second round pick for the Broncos is going to be pretty key. And we're going to have to find a way to just keep this train rolling. So, and then lastly, it's a 𝐃𝐫𝐚 jersey. It is number 11, but it says 𝐃𝐫𝐚 on the back. But I could see how you would think it's a Trent Holiday jersey, but I appreciate that. Let's see. I'm important to us, 𝐃𝐫𝐚, aka Saucy Dan. Hot Lips. You can call me call me Hot Lips. That's fine. I'll respond to Hot Lips.
Do we need to talk about how you got that name offline, not on the show?
I burnt my lip on pizza. I took it out of the oven. I let it rest, right? Like one does. Pizza. And then I was really hungry. So after I thought, it's cool enough for me to hold on to, I should be fine. With those like the frozen pizzas, the sauce gets trapped under the cheese. So everything else is cool.
We know it was
you take a bite
bagel.
And
you don't gotta lie to kick it, man.
Pizza bagel. He's like, it was pizza. Like
it was.
You don't gotta lie to kick it, man. It's all right. It's all right.
It's good that we've been. Not only are we going into our 11th year, but we have such a rapport with our fans here. We have some inside jokes running now as well. I appreciate that. I do. So, okay, guys, the Avs at the end of the second or near the end of the second here, up 3-1. If they win tonight, we also would need the Bruins to win. And last
we're not the
they were
president.
losing.
We'll lock up the Central Division with the win.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like we'll win the President's Cup tonight unless the Bruins score in 35 seconds. But we'll lock up home ice advantage through at least till the Stanley Cup round with the win here tonight. So looking good there. Best of luck to the Avs guys as we start kind of getting really excited about them and hopefully making it out of the second round this year. So we'll see. But Adam, Spotty, guys, thank you for joining me. As always, good talking to you and appreciate all of your insights and whatnot. To everybody in the chat, we love you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. And I don't know why I call this a shorter show. It's pretty much the same length as the regular season, and that's okay with me because they're always fun. But with that being said, we will head on out and see you guys next Tuesday. I got nothing left to say other than end the show as we always do with a very strong Go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Let's go Broncos!
Take care, guys.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show in the zone.